Testing, 1, 2, test, test, test. Testing, 1, 2, test, test. Ay. Hey, Randy. How are you? I gotta remove these drums. Okay. We're just waiting for a couple more guys to come in here. This is a live stream, gentlemen, for those who are going to be watching the video, because it's being recorded. And we're going to continue on where we left off last night. And I was doing, for the last 3, I'm doing good, just overworked. I'm thinking about taking a whole week off. I don't know which one yet, maybe 2 weeks. I mean, I do this 4 nights a week, 8 times a week. 52 weeks a year. Huh. I need a little bit of time for myself. Okay, if you don't mind. Anyway, like I said, let's wait for a few other guys to get in. What I'm going to do tonight is take what I did on the... Come on. What I'm going to do tonight is what I did on the drum pad, get some sort of drum set application. Now, we're not limited to anything when we play the drums. We're playing the music. What I'm doing is showing you how the relationship of the drum pad to the drum set and how to exercise. So, if you look at the accents, and we were doing with the right hand, 1, 2, 3, 4. What I do, and that's not a whip, that's a wrist action. I've had some discussions about the molar technique. Man, do I get into, not arguments, but you know, it's labeled as the molar, but it's not molar. You don't own it. Anyway, or Gruber, whatever that guy's name is. It's the laws of physics. Anyway, we're not limited to anything here. We're doing an exercise on the drum pad. One sound. Now what I'm doing here is I'm going to accent the counts of 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I could play that around the drum set. I could go from tom-tom, one tom-tom, or to a few tom-toms. All it is an exercise. That's all it is. Okay? Now, that's not what I wanted to really get into a drum set application with. All right? I want to take the 16th, well, we can do the 8th notes again, the 8th note vamping. Notice I'm not using what they call Billy Gladstone or the fingers or the whip or the molar or whatever, the laws of physics. What letting the stick do what it's supposed to do. Now, instead of going, let's do an 8th note vamp and play all the rights where the accents are on the floor tom-tom. That becomes something entirely different. Line 2, on the end. One, two, three, 4. Sorry. Just have a whole lot of fun. Be creative. It's a simple process. Now we can take the 8th notes again, and now this time make the bass drum the accents while this is going on. See what I'm doing there, Randy? It's different. Now, the one exercise that is really, it sounds like something on the drum set, is when I'm doing singles, 16th notes. I'm going to put an accent on the count of 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm going to move that around. I'm going to lock in onto one tom-tom. Or move it around. So on and so forth. Any questions to this point? Any questions, gentlemen? So, let's take line number 2, where the accent is on the and. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. Now I'm doing an upstroke and a downstroke. I'm not using a whip. It's not a whip. Who's this? Hey, Joe. What's up? I was a little early. I'm going to go backwards a little bit until a couple more we populate the chat. The drums sound okay, no? All right, you guys keep going in and out of here. All right, I'm going to have my other camera set up come Monday. Let's go back to the 16th notes. On one surface, we were doing down, tap, up, tap. Now we can move it on the drum set. We'll just refrain, or rather we'll lock in onto the floor tom-tom. Ah. And like I said, we can move it around to toms. Any combination. So on and so forth. Okay, we go to line 2. The accents are happening on the and. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. Okay, So now we can move it around. We'll lock in on the floor tom-tom. And I'll combine line 1 and line 2. And I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, with the accent on the and. Combine 1, 2, 3, 4, and the ands. Now there's no right or wrong with this, it's just a fun thing to do, moving around the drum set. You see what I'm doing, gentlemen? That snare sounds sweet tonight for some reason. Anyway, do you understand this so far? Now I could do the whole, actually what it is, what I'm doing there is I'm right-sided with the 16th notes lead, the 16th note lead. We've done the turnarounds. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run down, say, 5 or 6 lines of the stick control book, and that's actually, if you look at the 16th note page, you have the first line right-hand lead like this, or left-hand lead. But actually, it's actually the stick control book. Okay, so let me have a little fun. I'll hang out with line 1 for a little bit. Go to line 2 for a little bit, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6, okay? And I'm gonna lock in. Well, not lock in, I'm just going to have fun. All right, line 3. Line 4. Line 5. So on and so forth. Okay, so it's a simple thing. We're just moving it around. Now, we're not moving around a drum set. That's where the turnarounds come in. We're not into that tonight. So what I want to do now, you got the 16ths. Any questions on that? We're not going to play Wipeout, guys. I think that's how it went. I forgot. It's been 100 years. Okay, let's go to the triplets. I love the triplets because they really swing. And this is actually a prerequisite for the 16th note triplets. We're going to stay with 8th note triplets. What we were doing on the first line of the 8th note triplet, we were accenting the counts of 1, 2, 3, 4 on one surface. So now I'm going to take all right-hand accents and leave them here. All left-hand accents say here. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So on and so forth. Now the next guy is the dog, the triplet. 3, 4. All right, so now we're going to move the does onto the tom-toms. It's simple. The third line is a little bit, not strange, a little bit more into it because you have two accents on the first downbeat. You have 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4 and the. So now we have. Two, three, four, dang, two. Now play the exercise. 1, 2. Time, 2 measures. Second line. So on and so forth. We understand it, gentlemen? Any questions? This leads into the triplet fill-ins. You remember what they were? Line 1. Line 2. We remember the fill-ins? We're going to review them. We're going to revisit them soon. No questions. Okay, Randy. What do you mean? My question mark button is broken. So my questions will end with, okay, get a new keyboard. Huh. All right, that's good. Not a problem. So you have a question, Mr. Joe? Shoot. All I did was take the action and put it on the foot. All right, well, you could do that. That's not a problem, but it's just best, actually, when I'm doing the lesson, I mean, you want to be on the kit, that's fine. What you want to do is just listen. You come back and listen to the, it's being recorded, listen to the video, and get on the drum set. I mean, you got to get, the least amount of motion occurring so you don't exhaust yourself, because the more motion you use, the more tired you're going to become, and plus, you're going to get tense. You get a guys going with this. That's ridiculous. And they call that the whip. It's not a whip. Watch my elbows when I'm taking the accents up tempo. My elbows come in. I'm not going to fly away. If I do this at a faster tempo, I'm going to levitate and fly away. Ha. Hey, Marcio. Welcome. Where have you been, man? Playing gigs, I hope. All right, that's enough with the 8th note triplets. Let's go to the 16th note triplet. This, when we're swinging with the 8th note triplet. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. 1 and 2. Let's go to the 16th note triplet. Now, if you're following along and you've done accent development 1, 2, 3, 4, I believe this is number 5 or 6. I don't have the sheet. The sheets are over there. I apologize. But we're doing 16th note triplets. Well, that's not actually Freddy Krueger. I don't know. I don't want to be condescending to any other person that wants to instruct. My point is this. The drumming language should be international. Should be one way. This is a drumstick. This is my right hand. This is a free stroke. You know? One thing about Freddy Krueger, I don't know what in the world he has appealed to all these great drummers. Okay, but they swear by him. I don't know why. A friend of mine who comes here and does a few shows was telling me he was a student of Freddie, and he'd have an appointment, say, 11 o'clock on Monday. And Freddy Krueger had nothing to do. That was his first student. He wouldn't get to his lesson until Friday. And that doesn't make any sense. And, you know, to be abstract and speak out of the box, who knows what this man was talking about? I feel so bad that I have to say this, but the man had a drug habit. What is this? Okay, thank you, Randy. Anyway, you know, and that's a sad thing, you know. We all have habits. I have a practicing habit. I have to practice every day. So, you know, it's hard for me to break that. And also I have one more other bad thing. Well, it's one bad thing. It's smoking cigarettes. That's a bad habit. It's a nicotine addiction. And that's bad. But I don't speak abstractly. I come to the point. 1 + 1 = 2. I could teach you 1 + 1 = 2 and talk to you for about 17 hours and end with 1 + 1 = 2. That's exactly what Freddy Krueger did, I believe. I don't know what this man did. I really don't care what he did. All I know is what I do and what I learned from the best. Okay? Now, I don't want to put him down. And the same thing with Jimmy Chapin. Jimmy Chapin was a great hand technician. And, you know, he has a few instructional DVDs out or tapes, or, you know, what put him on the map was advanced techniques for the modern drummer. Now, that was a very painful thing for me to go through. And what really made that book was the graphics. Other than that, the book does not swing. All right, but it did teach me the relationship of the jazz pattern with the notation of the left hand, or developing independence or inter-independence, whatever you want to call it, between my 4 limbs. But that's the stick control book. Now, the 16th note triplets. Let me get to that. I hate going off like this because I had a bad day today on Facebook, and I had a discussion with somebody about the Moeller technique. You have to remember, you know, where the Moeller technique comes from. It's, you know, it comes from Jim Chapin. If it wasn't for Jim Chapin, there would be no Moeller technique. It's the laws of physics, period. Now, in my opinion, I've never met Jim Chapin. I've seen some of his instructional videos. And if you want to compare the instructional videos, Joe Morello and Jim Chapin, it's like night and day. Joe Morello's so laid back, so relaxed. Jim Chapin is like in a suit and tie and very stiff. And it does show in his playing. Well, that's my point, Joe. You know, the language gets very confusing. One person calls it the counts of triplet 1 and or 1, 2, 3, or 1 triplet, or 1 ta ta. You know, whatever works for you, that's cool. But I don't buy all of that. Now, I'm not saying it's wrong, but I'm not agreeing with it. And I have that right not to agree. You know, you want to do a downstroke, it's a downstroke. It's simple. The laws of physics, for every action, there's an opposite reaction. That's simple. I don't squeeze the stick. I don't use any extra muscles that I don't have to. You know, some even say, No pain, no gain. I mean, we ain't working out for the football team. This is an instrument we're playing. And you hit it one way, it gets a sound. Simple. The language should be universal. It's a right stroke. You know, like I said, I will. Next time I get Alan Herman here, it's going to be soon. We'll do a whole thing, him and I, on the drum pad. And we're going to talk about the laws of physics, the weights and measures, velocity, all that good stuff, how it's related to your technique. And it's not to confuse anybody, but it is what it is. The apple fell from the tree, hit him in the head, the laws of physics. Simple. All right, let's get to the 16th note, triplets. Now, the way I count, again, the 8th note triplet is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. Or 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Simple. Two ways. It's a Latin word, triplet, meaning a group of three. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I use this count, 1 and 2 and I don't use 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, or 1 ta ta, 2 ta ta, 3 ta ta, 4 ta ta. Now, because I bring these things all forward and express how I feel about them, people think I have an attitude. I have no time to waste. It is what it is. You know, even have this product on the market, a hinge stick. You know, you get a 4-year-old, 5-year-old, a 10-year-old, he grabs the sticks naturally. What does he need a hinge stick for? I mean, simple, man. Big business, entrepreneurism, confuses everybody. All right, 16th note triplet. Shut up, Matt. All right, the 8th note triplet. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. That's 8 notes to 3 notes to the quarter note. 1, 2, 3, 4. No accent. Now, 16th note triplets means I'm going to have to get 2 sets of triplets equal distant between the quarter note. So I count my triplets here. Instead of 1 triplet and triplet, I'm going to count 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. No problem. So if you can do the 8th note triplet, you can definitely do the 16th note triplet. You're changing the count. I'm counting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. For each count, I'm doing a triplet. 2, and listen to the bass drum. 4 and 1 and 2 and. Now I like to use them, they're nice. And I did mention last night about getting them confused with groupings of 6. They're very similar, the same amount of notes have to be played in between the quarter note. But the 6 gives you a different sound as opposed to the triplet. 6. Triplet. You can hear the difference? All right, so now, I'm going to just do it really slow. The first one, we're going to accent the counts of 1, 2, 3, coffee, 4. Coffee don't go in the count. I'll have in a cup. So we're going to nail 1, 2, 3, 4. So now I'm going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Bass drum. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. We get the feel of that? We understand that. The triplet. Now I'm going to stay right-sided. The first line is telling me I want an accent on the count of 1, 2, 3, 4, which I just demonstrated. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. So I'm going to take that accent and just let's lock in on just the floor. 1 and 2. 1 and 2. Okay, we got that? All right. Now, the second, I mean, you could, like we did before, we can move it around. 1 and. But it's very important, it's essential that that bass drum at this point, when doing the exercise, is on 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you want to add the hi-hat on 2 and 4, heel and toe, go with it. 3, 4, 1, that accent. That's the first guy. Second guy, the accent now is going to shift over. Instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, it's going to be on all the ands. This time, the accent is going to fall, what is that? On the left. So I'm going to do it on one surface. 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. Would you like me to slow that down, or will you understand it, gentlemen? So now, being that the accent is falling on the left side, I want to nail this guy with my left hand. So I'm going to have 1 and 2 and 3 and. So we have the two of them now. On the counts of 1, 2, 3, 4, and then on all the ends. So let's play one measure of 1, 2, 3, 4, and the next measure on all the ends back and forth. 1, 3, 4, 1, and 2, and. 2 measures, I'm sorry. Let me get back to one measure. 1, 2, 3, 4. So on and so forth. I'm sorry there, Marcio. There's not a translator here, and I'm sure what you're saying, I wish I could understand. If it was a question, I would be able to help you out. So what I like to do, and I'll do it at a variety of tempos, I'll just go in and out of line 1, and I'll refrain to these voices. Okay? So line 1, 2, 1, half. Back and forth. Now you can take it any place you want. I'm not going to be blazing here at 9,000 miles an hour. I'm just demonstrating what you can do. Now let's go, and I like line 3. It's a fun thing, because now we're going to have 1 end and 3 end accented. You got 1 and 1 and. So on and so forth. I hope that's something nice, Mauricio. Now again, I'm not going to go through the whole ordeal. Again, what we could do is just take the 16th note triplets on top. And instead of playing the accents on top, let's substitute. Instead of playing accents on top, let's use the bass drum. So the bass drum now on the first one will be on the counts of 1, 2, 3, 4. Got it? And on the second one, it's going to shift over to the ands. Back. I'm sorry, it's so hard to play this and talk. So excuse me if I make a mistake. I'm a subhuman, whatever. I'm perhaps one of the most humblest guys you're going to meet, but honest. I'm not selling myself short. So let's do line 1 and line 2. Just in an additional way. But notice when I'm playing that, I do not let my bass drum dictate the sound of my sticks. My sticks are constant. I'm not going. It's 1 and 2 and 3. Now listen, 4 and 3 and now on the ends. 1 and 2 and. Notice I did not disrupt the sound. I made the bass drum the solo instrument, or voice rather. We understand that? No, line 2 does not start with the left. You're looking at the manuscript that I sent you, the PDF. I'm still on a right-hand lead. If I started with the left, if I did line 2, 1, and if I did line 2, the accent would be with the left hand. I'm staying, if you didn't understand what I said, I'm staying to the right side. So on the bottom is this. I'm doing 8th, 16th note triplets this way all the time. 1. So if I did the accent on 1, 2, 3, 4, when I'm doing that, it would fall 1 and 2. Now if I go and shift the accent instead of 1, 2, 3, 4 on the ands, now the accent's going to be on the and of 1, the and of 2, the and of 3, and the end of 4, but the sticking is going to be the same. 1 and 2 and. So I'm just taking it right side. See, that's what I should have done, and I didn't have time. I mean, I sent you, what, 18 sheets? That's a lot. I am going to do this particular exercise I'm doing on the right side and the left side. I'm going to send you the PDFs with the tom-toms added. That's going to take a while because I'm still working on a moment's notice, impressions, Billy's bounce, and plus the additional exercises, plus all the students I get coming here. Boy, I love what I do. Anyway, are there any questions at this point? I'll address them. Now, I don't want to sound like I'm the know-it-all of everything. No, I'm not. I can't wait when I wake up in the morning to find out what I'm going to learn new today. Or have a discussion with somebody about a particular technique or a particular structure of a tune, or just a conversation in general about music. I always listen. They don't have to be wrong, but I don't have to agree, if that makes any sense for you. And Randy, you were following the PDFs, which is great. But like I said, I'm just using the right-hand lead. That would be, for example, if you're looking at line 1, then it would be line 3, then line 5, then line 7. But I'm taking all the rights. Well, I'm taking all the rights and lefts. The rights on the floor tom-tom, the lefts on the small tom-tom. I'll clarify that next lesson. I'll try to get some of it together. Okay, and then there's a lot to write, man. Like for example, doing the 16th notes, just in general, moving from drum to drum with the turnarounds. That's a lot of writing. And again, I opened up my email. There was no donations, but that's okay. It's not a mistake, it's just a misunderstanding. There's a difference between a mistake and a misunderstanding, or a clarification maybe on my part. And I do apologize if you misunderstood. Not a problem. Okay, so any questions? I need a vacation. And like I said in the beginning of the lesson, I'm not certain whether it's going to be a week or 2 weeks and when it's going to be. But at the most, it'd probably be a whole week. I just need to back up from this, clear my mind, and then come back fresh. I hope you guys don't mind. Marcio, you have any questions? I guess. Por favor. What is that? A Vimeo account? No, I don't have an account. I already have my YouTube and my PayPal account. I don't want to get into Vimeo or whatever that is. There's so much I do. I have Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, lessons. I had enough. Well, I don't know if that's a way to send money. I have to really, what is that? V-E-N-M-O? Venmo? Is that how you pronounce it? Venmo? See, I could take this lesson and put it on my site instead of YouTube and charge a fee of $1. You want to see the video? Send me $1. Or you want to see the lesson? Send me $2 or whatever the price is. I don't want to do that. I want everybody to appreciate what I do, and if I'm helping you, I mean, a pack of cigarettes costs $8, $10, $12. A 6-pack of beer costs $7, $8. You drink that in what, a night? All right, thank you, Randy. I appreciate it. Anyway, I'm closing up, gentlemen. Before I close up, I will take some questions if you have any. If you're going to use the PayPal account, use my email. Or go to PayPal, you're going to pay me, Matt Patella. That's mattpatella1001@gmail.com. Okay, gentlemen. Any questions? Marcio, Joe, and whoever else is watching, any questions? I hate that when they're watching, they don't want to come forward. However, I can't really give them a whole bunch of noise because if you're watching this on a phone, I don't believe you could get into the chat. It's best for you to watch this on a computer. What about stick control, Joe? What about it? You have a question on it? So does everybody else. What's your question? You have a question on stick control book? No question? Stick control book is the Bible. Period. Give me any book and I'll show you where it is in the stick control book. Simple. And again, people say, man, Matt Patel's got a bad attitude. Well, they should watch it on a computer there, Randy. All right, gentlemen, I need to take a break, get something to eat, get a cigarette, nicotine addiction. And I'll see everybody Monday on this site. Okay, any questions, email me, and I see if I can help you. Or if you have Skype, contact me on Skype and we will discuss things. Just get on Skype, www.skype.com. It's free. Download it. Okay? And then look up my name and then request me, and I'll accept it. I know, Joe. What is that? I can't see. I gotta put my glasses on. This old age shit sucks. Of course I gotta quit. I've been taking, I guess they call it the Chantix. And from 2 packs of cigarettes a day, I'm just down to a quarter of a pack. It's a hard, I had discussions with doctors and whatever. Nicotine is the hardest addiction to withdraw, to stop. All right. We shall see everybody Monday evening. And if I get enough donations, I'll surprise everybody and do it 1 o'clock.